as time flies by, you'll open up your eyes wide. You feel it's gonna go your way. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. Hey, 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 it's a brand new day.
They always say it's not what you know or who you know, but who knows you. Well, that's what my daddy used to say anyway. And the nice thing is meeting people who know other people. And Charito from the Butterfly Children's Charity has introduced us this week to this lovely young lady. Her name is Sandra. I know she's into numerology, something to do with Kabbalah and bio-neuro-emotions. It all sounds quite fascinating. So welcome to Marbella now, Sandra.
Thank you very much.
A
Good
pleasure
morning.
to meet you. You have a great smile, a great energy, I have to say.
Thank you.
So, wow, I know nothing about you. Where are you from? Let's start with the typical English basics.
Well, I'm Dutch, and I came to live in Spain 27 years ago.
To Marbella?
To Marbella, yes. So
You've
I've
seen
been-
some changes.
Yes, a lot of changes. Marbella and well, the whole coast has changed now. The way Marbella has changed, and Malaga, which is one of my favorite cities in Spain, I think I've changed, and I just love them.
I think it's a shame actually that most of us, and I include myself, don't go to Malaga for anything, and it is such a shame because it's
beautiful.
a beautiful city. Even the trees,
Yeah.
they have trees that are just so big and so emblematic of the city that we hardly know if we live a very foreign life. We were talking about this before, Sandra, that it's very easy as a foreigner to be in Spain, to live in Marbella, and yet have nothing to do with the normal work schedule that's going on beneath us, the 9 to 5,
Yes.
that it's almost like you don't perceive that world.
No, like you're in constant holiday mood.
Yeah, because it's funny, because in my world, or in the world of our cameramen, and it's a very normal working world, like it would be in Holland or in England, or
Yes.
just we have the sunshine. But for our international community, it's a hard thing to grasp, isn't it, that you can combine the two, a normal work day.
Exactly. Well, I think maybe it depends on what age you come. If you're retired, you want to enjoy all this. But if you come here at a working age and with a young family, then obviously you need to work and have a normal schedule.
Your numerology and all the things that I can't wait to learn about, is this your work? Is this what you've always done? How did you get to this point?
It is my work, and I've been doing this for the last 5 years. And what I do is individual sessions or teaching the numerology of archetypes of personality. That sounds a little bit
It does, just you lost me at
complex.
archetypes, to be
Yeah.
honest with you.
Well, it's about your personality. So your personality or your character. What is your character formed? How are you wired? Why are you the way you are? You react as you react. Why things happen to you the way they happen. One of the ways to look at it is through your date of birth. And with the date of birth, you've got 3 numbers. And from those numbers, I expanded to a diagram that gives 13 different positions where 13 different numbers can be found. And they all talk about your character. And it's a numerology that goes from 1 to 22. It has a relationship with the Hebrew alphabet. Hebrew alphabet has 22 letters, and each letter has properties, qualities, and a theme. It's and each Hebrew letter is also referred to a number. So in the Hebrew language, every word has a numeric value. And that is why the relationship is with this, the Hebrew alphabet, the 22 letters and the 22 numbers of this numerology. And the information that you get from each number is an archetype. Carl Gustav Jung, psychiatrist, he's the most famous person that has been talking about archetypes. But an archetype is, for example, something like a stem cell from which things develop. So the basic, the core, from which other things develop.
I have to say that with what you're saying, and with the scientists now and quantum physics and quantum math, really everything comes down to numerology, to numbers. One would have to think that we are a computer program, and you get X options, and how do you mix the hair with that shaped face, with the different things. Where do you see humanity in the sense of what benefits can we get from even analysing this or understanding it?
Well, I think the benefits are enormous. I've experienced it myself after knowing what my numbers are and what they mean and how they apply to my life. But through the combination of this diagram of your own archetypes that talk about you, combined with all the numbers that come from your family tree and your ancestors, and talking about your specific experiences of life, how you have been applying that to your life, you can find a pattern, and then you can find why things are happening to you, because you inherit emotional stress, you inherit that from your ancestors. And that is, you can see that in your own diagram, and in your own diagram you have all the potentials are there to, if you know them, you can apply them to get out of that, and not repeating the processes once every time over and over and over again.
Human beings were famous for that, wasn't it? Tripping over the same stone over and over again.
Why am I doing this again? Why is it happening again? So with the numerology, you get the tools and your potentials, your own ones, not the ones that your family are telling you, or not the ones your doctor prescribes, but your own specific tools that will help you get out of those stressful situations and grow and carry on.
How did this find you? Because I won't say how did you find it. It sounds like it found you.
Yeah, it found me. I was in bed after my third spinal surgery, and this left me with a dropped foot, which means that I cannot walk as quickly and as far as I used to. And I was thinking, okay, I'm 52, what do I want to do with my life? This is something that happened to me, but anything could have happened. And I realized that having a dropped foot meant that I won't be able to run as fast as I used to. But I wasn't running anywhere before that. I was stuck. So now that I couldn't run, I decided I wanted to run. So I thought, what is it that I would like to do with my life? And the only thing I could come up with was study. So I started studying again in my field, because I'm a physiotherapist. I started as a physiotherapist. Then I developed as a posturologist. So I studied that. From that I came in contact with people that teach the bio-neuro-emotion, which is a different way of looking at sickness. And from that I learned about this numerology. And this is definitely the thing that changed my vision of life and my vision of myself in life.
What was it particularly that gave you that wake up in the numerology?
When I first learned what my 13 numbers were, one of them is what your profound personality is. That which you are when you take off all those layers that cover you and don't let you show yourself. I discovered that I am 17. And 17 means that you're nice and sweet and cute. And I thought, I don't want to be nice and sweet and cute. I want to be tough and hard and a pioneer. But on one side of my chart is the 17, which is this capacity that I have to be nice. And on the other side is the 1, that is my desire, profound desire to be number 1. And that is not, they are opposite. And through this numerology, I found the way to combine those. That I can be tough if I want to, but I don't have to stop smiling, do I?
You can still be sweet, you can still be a nice person,
Exactly.
but find your inner strength, really.
Exactly. So I learned that was a potential. And I have other potentials that I discovered potentials in myself. Like I'm very intuitive. I am very I can communicate things that I didn't do before. And once I started to do that, I felt better. I felt more complete.
More yourself.
Exactly.
And that you're actually being true to yourself,
Exactly.
perhaps, that was missing.
Exactly.
Numerology is something that would be today then the thing that we will be saying to our spectators. If you want a bit more information about who you are, where you're going, this is something they could come and see you and you could give them like a number reading. How does that work?
Yes, well, the number is not really a number reading. It's a individual session where all those things that I said, well, your individual diagram, your family tree, all the names that are in there, they're all combined in one method, and that's called Archetypes Raúl Durán. So you can find me on that website.
Raúl, that's what you were saying before, but I can't remember his name is Raúl. So Archetypes Raúl Durán.
Yes.
And is this your guide, the person that you've learned through?
He's my teacher, and he's the person that developed this method, combining all the Kabbalah, numerology, family tree, and everything that has to do with numbers.
And obviously how to build that into our everyday life, how to make it part of ourselves, to be not only sweet and nice and beautiful, but with an iron will when necessary.
Exactly, yes.
Well, I have to say it's just charming to meet you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Gives off a very good vibe, what can I say, which is a very good start. It's a pleasure to meet you, Sandra. Hope it's the first of many times.
Thank you very much.
Just have a good vibe,
Nice
I
to
think. That's a
have me
good
here.
bit of reading. Get my numbers out. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye.
This next section is sponsored by Linea Directa, tailor-made expat car insurance. I love having people on the show like Plastic Free Seas Worldwide and Joe with his litter pickers, because there is so much that we individually can do that will make a very big difference. In fact, one of the instigations about me, Marbella Radio and Marbella Now TV was because I do understand, having lived in Madrid for over 20 years, that it's very important that everybody who lives in a city is registered on the local town census, because it's from central government that per capita they're allocated funds to look after our city, whether it be for cleaning the streets, health centres, education, firemen, policemen. It all depends on how many people are in the city, of how much funding they get. Unfortunately, there are very few people registered on the town census in Marbella. In fact, under half of those who actually live here are registered, and that means that the city is really underfunded and finding it very stressful to actually make ends meet. And if you add to that all those tourists that come into our city anyway, it doesn't help. So those of us who do live here for more than a couple of weeks or a couple of months a year, it is our duty and obligation to sign on the Padron. And if you would like to have a say in the local elections that are coming up and in the European elections, at least for the moment, even us British still remain with the vote, you need to sign on to the town Padron before the end of the year, and also make sure that you ask for the form or to tick the box that makes you eligible for also voting. This is ever so important. If you love Marbella and you love living here, this is very important for the city, and you don't need to worry, because it doesn't change your fiscal situation in any way whatsoever. Whatever you're doing before signing on the town Padron will remain the same afterwards. But it does help our city, and you'll be surprised at how many things it will actually help you with also. Please do register on the town Padron. The city needs you. We need you. Thank you.
Hey, hey.
I was so surprised, well, not really. I brought some dear friends of mine to have lunch here at the harbour the other day, because they hadn't even been in to the Puerto Deportivo, the Marbella Marina, ever before. Now, the reason this is so remarkable is because they are actually from Marbella. They've lived here all their lives. They work here, but my friend works in the offices of the town hall where we all go and pay our taxes, and her daughter-in-law works in a very important travel agency, and her son also works well involved with everyone that's here in the city, but it's not on their radar to come down to the Marbella Marina, which is such a shame. So you can imagine their delight, as with everybody else who comes to Marbella Now show or joins me to have lunch here. The views here are spectacular, and you really do need to know that this place exists. Now, to help people get to know that this hidden jewel is here. The town hall is jumping on board because without a doubt, this happens to be one of the most privileged areas on the Golden Mile. We're in the heart of the Marbella Centre, right behind where the Faro, the lighthouse, is, behind the social security offices, but the views of Africa, Gibraltar, are stunning. You've got the views of the harbour itself. So really, it's a great place to come. Now, before, the main car park here in the port was the actual entrance to the Marbella Marina, and that's why most people didn't even venture down, because it didn't look very enticing. But last year, they actually took half of the car park area at the entrance to the Marbella Marina and they turned it into terraces so that the bars and restaurants there can actually use those, and it looks a lot more attractive. And we've just had receipt of confirmation that they're going to do the other half, which is the part here at the main entrance where the Royal Yacht Club is, the Marbella, and this the harbour restaurant on the first floor of the Club Real Marítimo. So it's really congratulations and great news for the businesses that there's going to be also the terraces in this part. Go and find parking somewhere else, but it will open up this area to the city, and hopefully a lot more of you will come to the Puerto Deportivo, the Marbella Marina, and check it out, because it is just the place to be.